Revenge is a dish best served cold, and in the pouring rain of Perth, it was served brutally cold. Quinn Tupaea, a man whose career was nearly derailed by Australian thuggery years ago, didn't just return to the field. He unleashed hell. 2 tries in 4 minutes that didn't just win the game, they exorcised demons. This was Bledisloe Rugby at its most physical. A wet weather war, an interesting refereeing performance, and ultimately an emphatic statement by New Zealand. That's 11 straight wins over the Wallabies. We're breaking down how the All Blacks defense choked the life out of Australia, why the efficiency mattered more than effort, and the emergence of a new superstar. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Rugby from the Stands. What a clash to wrap up the Bledisloe Cup for 2025. The All Blacks secured the sweep with a gritty, defensively monumental 28-14 victory over the Wallabies at Optus Stadium. The conditions were tough. It was wet. It was slippery. But the intensity was sky high. This wasn't a game of champagne rugby. This was a victory built on relentless defensive pressure, tactical kicking, and seizing opportunities with clinical precision. For the Wallabies, it's a familiar heartache. They had the majority of the ball. They made more carries, but they were ultimately undone by errors and the inability to crack the black wall. We also have to pay tribute to James Slipper, 151st and final test, an absolute legend of the game. He received a massive ovation when he came off in the 44th minute. It wasn't the fairy tale ending, but what a career. But the story of the night was the All Blacks' composure under pressure. They controlled the territory, dominated the collisions, and proved yet again why they are so hard to beat. Let's break down the timeline. The first 20 minutes were chaotic. It felt like a heavyweight fight with both sides trading blows. The Wallabies started brightly. Damien McKenzie missed an early shot at goal, and Tane Edmed stepped up for the Wallabies in the 6th minute to nail the opener. 3-0 Australia. But the All Blacks' response was immediate and lethal. Just 2 minutes later, Leroy Carter crosses the line. This guy is unreal. We have to talk about him. That is 3 tries in his first 3 tests. He has started his international career on an absolute heater. He's explosive, he reads the game perfectly, and he provided the instant counterpunch. McKenzie converts 7-3 All Blacks. The Wallabies kept the pressure on. Edmed slotted another penalty to make it 7-6. And then we had the first major turning point. Australia thought they had scored their first try, but the review brought it back. Tom Hooper is yellow carded and the try is wiped off the board. A massive momentum swing early in the game. This is where the referee, Matthew Carley, really stamped his authority. He was strict from the outset. The Wallabies showed good resilience, actually regaining the lead at 9-7 through another Edmed penalty in the 17th minute. But despite the scoreboard, you felt the All Blacks were absorbing the pressure. Australia dominated the early exchanges. They were carrying strong, but they were living off penalties. And you simply cannot rely on 3-pointers against the All Blacks. They will eventually make you pay. And the man who made them pay was waiting for his moment. If one player on the pitch embodied the emotion and physicality of this rivalry, it was Quinn Tupaea. Let's not forget the history. Tupaea suffered a horrific knee injury years ago due to questionable, frankly disgraceful tactics by the Australians. He was out of rugby for a long time. The road back was brutal. Tonight, he played like a man possessed. He wasn't just looking for a win, he was seeking vengeance. And he absolutely got it. The 10 minutes before halftime, the championship minutes were owned by the All Blacks. In the 32nd minute, they strike, and it was opportunistic brilliance. The ball bounces awkwardly, actually right off Jordie Barrett's head. And who is there to react first? Quinn Tupaea. He controls the bouncing ball with incredible skill and races over the line. The conversion was missed, so it's 12-9. The Wallabies are still in the fight. But the All Blacks smell blood. Just 4 minutes later, they strike again. And again, it's Quinn Tupaea. This was clinical. They stretched the defense, created the opportunity, and Tupaea finished it off. Another missed conversion kept the score at 17-9, but the psychological damage was done. 2 tries in 4 minutes. That is the All Blacks' signature. They absorb, they wait, and then they strike with devastating efficiency. Tupaea's performance was inspirational. He was physical, dominant in the contact, and lethal in attack. This was a statement game. At halftime, the score was 17-9. As the second half started, the heavens opened up. The rain, which had been light, really started coming down. This changed the game completely. It became a battle of attrition, a test of composure and tactical kicking. The Wallabies needed a fast start, but the All Blacks' defense was immense. There was a moment early on where Australia was threatening, but the All Blacks' defense not only held them out, but forced the ball back 60 meters. A huge psychological blow. Damian McKenzie, who managed the game brilliantly in the wet, extended the lead in the 61st minute with a penalty, 29 to New Zealand. But credit to the Wallabies, they didn't fold. In the 65th minute, they finally breached the defense. Len Ikitau crossed the line. The conversion was missed, which was crucial. It kept the score at 20-14. A 6-point game with 15 minutes to go. Game on. But this is where the All Blacks' experience shone. They didn't panic. They reverted to their strengths. McKenzie nailed another crucial penalty in the 69th minute, pushing the lead back out to 9 points, 23-14. That felt like the dagger. In the final 10 minutes, the All Blacks suffocated the Wallabies. The stats from the last 10 minutes are incredible. New Zealand had 92% possession. 92%! They strangled the life out of the game. And fittingly, they had the final say. In the 80th minute, replacement prop George Bauer crashed over. The icing on the cake. Final score, 28-14. Let's dive into the stats because they tell a fascinating story about how this game was won. It was a victory of efficiency over effort. Australia had 53% possession. They made 133 carries to New Zealand's 110. They even had more line breaks, 5-4. But look at the territory. New Zealand had 59% territory. That tells you everything about their tactical kicking game and their ability to force the Wallabies to play from the wrong areas of the field. But the most crucial stat of the night, the game winner, is the defense. The All Blacks made 175 tackles at a staggering 91% completion rate. They missed only 17 tackles. That is elite performance, especially in the rain. The Wallabies missed 29 tackles, resulting in an 83% completion rate. You simply cannot afford to miss 29 tackles against New Zealand. That is the match right there. And let's talk about the collision dominance. Look at the post-contact meters. Australia carried 133 times for 290 meters. New Zealand carried only 110 times but made 292 meters. The All Blacks gained more ground with fewer carries. They were more powerful in the contact area. The narrative is clear. The All Blacks won through superior defense, tactical acumen, and sheer efficiency. We have to talk about the referee, Matthew Carley. This game felt like a whistle fest. There were 28 penalties conceded in total, 14 by each team. That's a lot of stoppages, and it definitely disrupted the flow of the game. But I have to say, I thought Carley was very good. He was strict, yes, incredibly strict on infringements, especially at the breakdown and the offside line, but he was remarkably consistent. He applied the same standards to both teams. What I really appreciated was his communication. He was very vocal about the specific pictures he wanted to see to reward penalties. He was clear, he was concise, and he set his stall out early. When a referee is that clear, players have to adapt. Discipline was a major factor. The stats show Australia conceded 2 yellow cards, while All Blacks conceded 0. In a game of fine margins, that is paramount. It was a bruising and entertaining game. Despite the weather, the ball handling was generally good. Only 28 turnovers lost combined, and the physicality was immense. We saw some powerful hits from both sides, like that massive shot from Filippo Dauguno. It was proper test match rugby. So, the All Blacks complete the sweep. They retain the Bledisloe Cup, and they finish their rugby championship campaign with grit and determination. For the Wallabies, the talent is there, the fight is there, but the clinical execution and discipline required to beat the best is still missing. That wraps up our coverage of this Bledisloe clash. But the Rugby Championship is not over. We still have the final game. The Springboks versus Argentina. South Africa is poised to clinch its first back-to-back Rugby Championship title. That is going to be massive. I'll be back after that match with a full analysis and a wrap-up of the entire tournament. Until then, let me know what you thought of the game in the comments below. How impressed were you with Quinn Tupaea's revenge game? What did you think of the refereeing? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on how you thought the game went. Thanks for watching Rugby from the Stands.